Christmas, everyone. I know it's Christmas Eve right now, but I'm posting a video today. So today we're going to be checking out another theory. It's a film theory. Yeah, film theory. That it's called the Christmas Crimes of Santa. Now, I don't know what this is about, other than, like, this could potentially be, like, the crimes that Santa's committed against humanity or something. Or his elves. Or his wife. I don't know. Could be anything, honestly. But yeah, we're going to check this out. And then as far as tomorrow, I know tomorrow is Saturday, but it's also Christmas. And I'm honestly debating, like, whether or not to actually post a reaction. If it's an SMG4 reaction, I probably will. Probably just later in the day. I really don't know. We'll cross the bridge when it gets there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. The original link will be in the description. And make sure you guys go check out the film Theorists. That link will also be in the description. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go check out these crimes.
This Christmas, everyone is excited for Santa to arrive.
Santa! Let's go!
I'm cranky and overworked. He's a theorist with a bone to pick. Are we sure these Christmas cookies were locally sourced? But the man on top of his naughty list is Santa himself.
Why?
Last time these elves got a lunch break, do these stairs not have railings? Why is no one in this factory wearing PPE? I'm calling OSHA. Will one grumpy theorist be able to stop Christmas from coming? Or will he learn that Santa is the biggest victim of all? It's a holiday story for the ages. A very film theory Christmas. Rated PG starting now.
Rated
Hello,
PG.
Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that guarantees you'll be placed on the nice list if you hit the subscribe button.
I've already hit the subscribe button, so I'm good. I'm on this nice list.
A lot with the times. Over the centuries, Santa has undergone the most dramatic glow-up ever. Starting off as a kindly 4th century bishop named Nicholas who lived in what's now modern-day Turkey, and transforming into a jolly bearded man who wears a red suit, lives in the North Pole, and stuffs himself down chimneys so he can deliver toys and eat all your cookies. It is quite the poke evolution. Anyway, from those beginnings, his modern mythos has been solidified by holiday classics like Miracle on 34th Street, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and of course, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
What the heck? Santa Claus Conquers the... That's a movie?
Leading us inevitably to the 1994...
Oh, I gotta go. I guess I have to check that out then.
As well as its 2 sequels, which, aside from making people misspell claws for the better part of 2 decades, also acts as the most in-depth look into the inner workings of his North Pole operation ever. And what these movies reveal is how shockingly dark it all is. I mean, the idea of Santa was always pure and simple, and nobody ever really stopped to think about the labor force of the elves. But here in 2021, we're more aware than ever as to the plight of employees and their working conditions.
Yep, that is very true. Very, very, very true.
Santa was popularized. So today, I wanted to put Santa under some scrutiny. How are his working conditions up north? Do they meet by modern-day safety standards? And with people leaving their jobs en masse this year, should the elves be next? Is the ultimate supply shortage going to be coming from the North Pole itself, as Santa has job vacancies resulting after centuries
don't
of
shelf our
mistreatment?
health. No, you're
Well,
on my...
ladies and
You're on...
gentlemen,
No,
get ready.
so
This
just
one's
as
a
you're on my
doozy. In the
list.
Santa Claus movies, we learn a lot about the
I
elf
think I'm
workforce of the
dyslexic.
North Pole. They're an immortal-ish race of workers who've been around since before the commercialization of Christmas and electricity and even toys as we know them.
Toys have to be delivered. I'm not going to do it. It's not my job. I'm just an elf.
We hear in the Santa Claus 3 The Escape Clause that they're just an army of toy-building yes-men working for the big man, Santa himself.
Who's in charge?
You are.
And from there, for the rest of the entire series, the elves are literally always working. As soon as one Christmas is over, they immediately start prepping for the next one without even having the luxury of a coffee break.
Excuse me, are we on a coffee break?
We don't drink coffee.
Then I guess the break is over.
That is not an okay mentality to have in the workplace. In
That does not
1970, the
sound like a good
Occupational Safety
mentality
and
to
Health
have.
Administration, or
That's
OSHA,
terrible.
was established, which is responsible
Not even
for
having a
ensuring safe and
break?
healthy work
That's
environments in the US.
not
They've
right.
been pretty darn successful at that, as they've reduced workplace deaths by 50% since being introduced. So what would OSHA have to say about the elves' insane work hours? Nothing, actually. OSHA doesn't regulate workplace breaks. That's actually governed by the Fair Labor Standards Act. So what does it say? Nothing, again. But
nothing.
In a different way. You see, it doesn't require employers
What
to
do you
give
mean a
breaks to their
different way?
employees. It does say that any employer making employees pull more than 40 hours is required to give them overtime pay, provided they're making less than $47,476 per year. But as far as total working hours and breaks, nothing actually governs that. If you're an employee, you're working at will based on your employer's standards, unless of course you belong to a union. Okay, so the long hours being pulled by the elves doesn't seem like it's going to cause a big issue up at the North Pole. But even though OSHA doesn't limit total working hours, it does have safety standards in place. Things like needing to provide basic protections like guardrails and sprinklers, as well as equipment like eye shields and hard hats. And, as we hear in Santa Claus 3, many of Santa's workspaces are just currently not up to code.
This is not up to code, this building.
He's not wrong there either. When taking a look at the facilities, you'll notice that there aren't any guardrails installed to keep the elves safe from oncoming trains. Various
But
cables
why?
hang around to
Why
easily
no
zap
guardrails?
unsuspecting workers. And when fires break out in the third film, there aren't adequate sprinklers to take care of them. Also, I should probably mention the rampaging robot Santa. Now, I don't think it's explicitly called out in the
what?
picture
A robot
is
Santa?
preventing evil robot uprisings? Yeah, I'd say it's kind of implied. Now, while I could go on and list more of the infractions off and the specific codes that are being broken, none of it matters. None of it. Santa is free to do whatever misdeeds he wants for one reason and one reason alone: the fact that his factory is in the North Pole. OSHA's jurisdiction only covers the 50 U.S. states and other U.S. territories. The North Pole, meanwhile, has no recognized government. It exists in international waters, even though Russia, Denmark, and Canada have all tried to stake a claim for it. As a result, the only rules and regulations that it needs to follow are those coming directly from the United Nations, specifically the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea from 1982. Based on these laws of the sea, the only way any authority can come in and mess with Santa's business is if they can prove that Santa is threatening the elves and forcing them into labor, which,
why are you pointing a gun at a kid? It does not make you look really good. That really doesn't make you look like a good person, Santa.
All I want to see is busy worker tushies.
Are probably
What?
cause for an
What?
HR
Wait,
lawsuit,
what-
but
what
it
did he
never
say?
seems like there's any sort of forced labor going on up there, unless of course you're talking about Santa himself. Big twist time, friends. You see, the only one being forced into labor by Santa's workshop is, ironically enough, Santa himself. In case you've forgotten the plot of this movie, our protagonist, Scott Calvin, surprises Santa one night, causing him to fall off
Ow.
the roof and die. When examining the body, Scott
He
uncovers a note that
died?
tells him to put on the iconic
No.
coat. He does it, which, unbeknownst to him, locks him in as the world's new Santa.
So when you put on the suit, you fell subject to the Santa Claus.
Really?
Santa Claus. A clause, as in the last line of a contract. And putting on the suit and entering the sleigh, the wearer waives any and all rights to any previous identity, real or implied, and fully accepts the duties and responsibilities of Santa Claus. What does that mean? It means you put on the suit, you're the big guy. You read the card.
Wow.
You put on the suit that clearly falls under
So
Santa
that's
Claus.
a...
Now you're Santa, okay?
Oh.
No, this business card right here is just outright contract fraud. In order to have a legally binding contract, you need 4 key components. First, an offer and acceptance.
Okay.
Someone offers to do X in exchange for Y and the other person agrees. Second, you need mutual assent, basically just meaning that everyone is cool with there being a contract in place. Third is consent. Both parties are signing under their own free will. No one's signing while feeling threatened or being misled. And lastly, mutual contract consideration. Consideration just refers to the exchange of something of value from one party in return for the promise or service provided by the other. And the Santa Claus, spelled with an E, breaks pretty much each and every one of these things. First, there is no assent to there being a contract. In fact, Scott has no idea there's a contract on this thing. The fact that it's
That
designed
is
to look
very,
like a
very
business card
true.
that you need a super magnifying glass to read the clause makes it almost immediately fraudulent. From there, he's clearly not giving his consent. For the better part of the first hour of the movie, he is constantly denying the fact that he's Santa Claus. And lastly, there's no exchange of consideration. He puts on the suit to become Santa and what? He basically becomes an indentured servant for his entire life. He gets nothing in return.
Wow.
There is only
That's
take,
sad,
take,
man.
take by the elves in the North Pole.
That's
Not only is
depressing.
he tricked into signing his life away, he must then endure these massive unwanted changes to his body as he transforms into the quote-unquote ideal version of Santa Claus. That is not okay. There is no consent here. Also, his heart apparently beats upwards of 140 times per minute as it plays Jingle Bells on repeat.
What?
what's even weirder is that
The
Jingle Bells
heck?
was written in the 1850s, which makes me wonder what songs the early Santas had playing in their chests. I'm assuming it was Gregorian chants. But perhaps worst of all is that he's now alienated from human society. He is deemed unfit to continue as a part of his family, and he has to leave everyone he loves in order to work 24/7 up at the North Pole. Put yourself in the place of Scott's ex-wife, who is justifiably concerned that her former husband has gained 100 pounds overnight, has grown a beard, and is pretending to be
100
single.
pounds.
I mean,
How do you
that is
gain 100
justifiable
pounds
cause for
overnight?
concern.
Like,
As such,
seriously.
forced to suspend his visitation rights to their
What?
son. And then the elves encourage him to basically kidnap his son.
Please, can I go, Bernard? Okay with me.
Bernard, despite undergoing the Santa training process with multiple other Santas in the past, continues to egg Scott on and assist in taking his kid away from his mother and stepdad for a full month without their consent.
That's
Yes,
not
Bernard
right.
did this because he knew that it would cause Scott's life to be in a shambles from this point forward. He is now wanted for kidnapping, and as such will have to remain at the North Pole in order to work. As Bernard says earlier in the film,
You leave tomorrow morning. You have 11 months to get your affairs in order, and you're due back here Thanksgiving.
and when Scott doesn't do that, Bernard swoops in to close it out for him. And wouldn't you know, the police do send out dozens of cops to hunt Scott down, which leads to Scott being imprisoned. Sure, there's a special forces branch
That's-
that helps to free Scott, but this
wow.
only makes things worse because now it means that Scott is an escapee from jail, which you know is going to remain on his record. And the contracts only get worse from there in the sequels. If you thought that the first contract was fraudulent, wait until you see the Mrs. Clause, which requires
The
pretty much an
Mrs. Claus.
electron
There's a
microscope to
Mrs.
read.
Card
Claus.
holder acknowledges woman of his choosing. I gotta get married.
Yeah, when Scott agreed to this, it was totally a consensual contract between all parties involved. In the Santa
It
Claus
was
2, we learn that
definitely
there's
not
apparently a
consensual.
Mrs. Claus with an E, which forces Scott to find a wife in 28 days. Otherwise, Christmas is just gone and forgotten. So Scott has to revert back to Tim Allen form and tricks a headstrong middle school principal named Carol to become his wife. The proposal scene here just hurts so much because Carol is forced to say yes in front of an army of elves who know that she has to say yes or risk the end of Christmas. And if all this 40-day fiancé-esque behavior wasn't cancel-worthy enough, Santa then goes and does the exact same thing that happened to him. He drags her away from her home and essentially makes her break off all contact with her family.
That's
as the secret of
sad.
Christmas needs to be kept.
And I'm sure you have a perfectly good reason for shutting us out of your life.
Which, as we see in part 3,
Oh, that's-
causes Carol to, go figure, become horrifically depressed. So we've got both our Mr. and Mrs. Claus, both entrapped to fill their Christmastime roles. But to add insult to injury in true capitalist dystopia form, Santa is an employee who just doesn't matter. Santa is
Ow.
expendable. Normally in most Santa Claus
Yikes.
films, like the Christmas Chronicles or Elf, Santa's this immortal deity
I loved
who roams the
Elf.
North
Elf
Pole.
was one of my
However, in
favorite
the Santa
movies.
Claus movies,
All
he's a figurehead
time.
who can and has died repeatedly, only to be unceremoniously swapped out.
What the
In
heck?
film, we learned that there have been at least 50 Santas before Scott. Santa dying is not an infrequent occurrence in this universe, and you'd think that
Wasted.
the death of Santa would be a big deal for the elves, but no. When Scott kills off the prior iteration of Santa at the top of the very first movie, no one bats an eye. None of the elves say hi to him or ask what happened to the other Santa. In fact, the elves actively sass him.
Pointy shoes that are older than you.
And if anything, they look annoyed that they have to
Ouch.
deal with a newbie on the job. In short, Santa is a figurehead at the mercy of the elves, caught up in a system where he has no control. And all of this is without even mentioning the mysterious disappearances of the former Mrs. Clauses. The Mrs. Claus is a thing that all Santas are bound by, after all. The prior Santa had to have a family too. So what happened to the former Mrs. Claus when Santa
Kevin.
died? Suspicious much? Remember how I said
That
the
is kinda
only
suspicious.
way
What did happen to
North
her?
Pole could get in trouble as if it was forcing people to work against their will? Well, it's not the elves that need the help, it's Santa. Santa is a prisoner in his own workshop. The elves entrap Scott into an illegal and fraudulent contract. Scott's body is abused against his will. Any goodwill that Scott once had with society and his family is systematically ruined by the elves. He's forced into marriage as a part of his job, and all of it for no compensation.
Dang,
Movies try to
that's-
play this off as a positive thing, like, oh,
That's
look at
not-
Scott discovering the magic of Christmas.
This
It's
was twisted.
not, as even in the
This was
third
a
movie,
twisted-
after
no,
Scott has been a
my
Santa for
goodness.
quite some
What?
time, he still regrets all of it.
Are there times when you wonder if this was even
Worth it? More than you know. Wish I'd never put that red coat on. I wish I never become I'm Santa.
In this world,
Dang.
it's not Santa that's the evil employer, it's the elves. They're the ones that need to get those OSHA violations. So someone call the UN. We need to defend some workers' rights up north. This year, don't leave cookies out on the plate for Santa Claus. Leave the phone number to a helpline. But
The
hey,
phone number to
that's just a theory. A film theory. And Merry Christmas.
Merry
Give the kids this holiday
Christmas.
season a subscription to the channel. It's free, and you'll get the gift of a new mind-blowing film theory episode under your subscription box each and every week. Get put on the nice list this year with a click of that red subscribe button.
All right, well, I don't know what to think about this. This was something else. I mean, for real. What the heck? Who would have thought that there was a theory about like the elves and how like Santa's just like he's not the evil one and he's the head honcho. Like oh my god. What the heck? There were some twisted things in here. There are some very, very twisted things in here that don't make me want to become Santa. I don't want to become Santa anymore. Oh my god, if you had any hopes of becoming Santa in the future, you could just get rid of all that. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Oh my god. But yeah, anyways, guys, what did you think? What did you think of the theory? Let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed it or not. And with that being said, hit that like button if you really did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. And with that being said, Merry Christmas, everyone. And I'll see you guys in the next one.